All right, let's actually dive into Claude and let's start exploring this. Now, if you've been using Claude quite a bit already, then you can probably skip this video because I'm going to be talking about some pretty straightforward basic stuff. But maybe you'll learn something new, so maybe just watch it at 2x speed. Um, Now, if you're very new to Claude, it is really straightforward. Here on the left-hand side, you have, your chats. As you can see, I use it from building GTM agents to ask about the new coffee maker I just got. And from here, you can manage pretty much everything that you need. You can search all of your chats. You can look at your chats. You have your different projects that we're going to dive into in just a second. Then you have artifacts. Now, artifacts are, for example, imagine that you are working in Claude and you tell it, okay, make me a brand guide, for example, and it will publish it under artifacts. So these are things that it creates, that it builds for you. You have your chats here, again, straightforward. Then here on the top, you have chat, which is what we're going to be working with. Co-work, which is able to manage the files on your local machine. I'm a little bit scared of it still because I've read some horror stories about it deleting stuff, but it is pretty powerful. I really do like the idea. And then Claude Code, which is something we can use as well to set up just quick, scripts, what have you. I mean, you can build anything with Claude Code, but in our use case, we can use it to build some things that make our life easier. Then here you have your plans. So what we want to do is we want to go to here, we want to click on settings and just look at the different settings that we have here. And then here's not too much in there, but then if we click under capabilities, that's where we want to start paying attention. These are things that you just probably want to keep them toggled on, same as here. Now, here's one thing that may look different than how it looks for me. And what I do recommend, probably as you're opening this, it will have this option toggled on, so package managers only. Now, in some cases, we may need this to be set to all domains. For example, I'm using in some of my example skills, I'm using a tool called EXA, which is great for research, finding companies, etc. And one of their connector parts was broken, so I had to tell Claude, hey, listen, actually go directly to their API and pull the file that I'm looking for. It's only able to do that type of thing. So to make external API calls, if you don't know what an API call is, I'll talk about in a second, in a different video, then it's not able to do that. So just if you're on a work machine, then for now just keep it to package managers only. But if you're like, Cloud can access all domains internet, sounds scary. I'm not a security advisor by any means, but just have a look at the potential security risk, and then you decide. But I set it to all domains just because at times I need it and we may need it. The memory, yes, we obviously do want to have memory toggled on, and this is what I talked about earlier, where you're able to search for relevant details, but Claude also is, so you can actually tell, hey, listen, you remember how I told you about this or that thing? Look that up, and then help me do this new work on this new project I'm working on. So keep that toggled on, and then it will also generate memory from chat history. So this is the memory from chats. You can actually delete that or reset it, and then it will just start with a fresh memory. Imagine you're switching jobs, for example, right? And then here's the fun part, which is skills. So as you can see, I have skills under here like prospect researcher, competitor intel, GTM playbook, etc. And then what I want you to do first is go to example skills, and then you can see some of the example skills here. Now, a skill is really just that, a skill, like something that you're teaching to this Claude, to AI, to this, let's say, AI agent, and teaching it to do something. And that can be something as creating brand guidelines, great, or something about around design. But it can also be something far more technical, like building a MCP from scratch. It can help you generate GIFs for Slack, or it can help you take a CSV file and research every person on there. Anything you can think of, you can teach it to Claude, and it just has that skill forever. Well, until you turn it off. But it just has that skill in there. And what we want to do, so as you're here under example skills, then you want to make sure that MCP Builder and Skill Creator are toggled on. Then the other ones, some of them are definitely helpful. So Web Artifacts Builder, I found that to be pretty helpful just to make some good looking stuff as well. And the other ones, that is completely up to you. But Skill Creator, we definitely want to have that one toggled on. So those are the most important things under here on the capabilities. If you want to learn exactly how skills work, so I'm going to talk more about them and the structure of them throughout every single video. But if you really want to have that theoretical knowledge about, okay, what are skills, it's very helpful to have that knowledge just so that you know what the limitations are, how they are structured, how they work. And that has helped me tremendously in making them work better for me. So it's always very helpful. There's some interesting reading on the Claude website that I will link to below this video, and you can actually do some reading on how skills work. It's fascinating and very helpful to have that knowledge. And then here, connectors is also pretty important. So connectors really are just that, where imagine, I have Claude connected to Google Drive. I can then just easily import files from my Google Drive, which is very, very helpful. There is a new Clay connector that can help do prospect research. I'm a big fan of EXA, for example. Now, this is a custom connector, and I'm going to show you how to set that up as well. That is great for web research, etc. Then there are other ones that I have. Instantly, for example, is one that I made myself. Appify, and just, there are the connectors here. Then to add a new connector, you have a couple of options. You can see the browse connectors option here and add custom connector. Browse connectors will help you look at the official app store, right, of Claude. So these are just straightforward. You can see, okay, what makes sense. There's a pretty decent chance maybe using Fireflies, for example, for your recordings. There's a decent chance you've heard of Harmonic. They have some really good prospecting data. There's Vibe Prospecting slash Explorium. There are other ones. And as you can see, these are very much focused on, like I said earlier, on B2B, business to business use cases, which is very helpful for us. So have a look at the ones here that maybe ones that you're already using, that you find helpful, that you didn't know existed. There's some CRMs in here that you may be using. There are other tools in here that you may or may not be using. And these are going to help us just to say, okay, I want you to go into monday.com and find me this or that project. It will go in there. Or if you've set up automations on Make, which is like, this Zapier alternative, you can say, run this for me. You can analyze your finances. There's Notion in there. There's a whole lot in there. For example, there's SimilarWeb, which I even haven't used, and you can use that to do research on companies that you're thinking of reaching out to. You can pull all of that together. We're going to look at that in a second. So these are the official connectors that you can use. And then there are desktop extensions as well, and they can help you more on your local machine. They do things on your local machine. They can help you control Google Chrome browser tabs. So they can actually, once you enable that, you can actually tell Claude, hey, listen, open a tab and look for this or that, or perform this or that action, which is pretty fun to see it actually do it. I mostly use these right here, but sky's the limit with Claude these days. So those are the featured official App Store connectors. And under here, you have the option to add a custom connector, which we're going to do as well, which allows you to say, okay, there are tools that don't have that official App Store feature just yet. and this will allow you to do it. Now, just some really, really quick theory that I realized I left out about MCPs. Now I already am calling them connectors. It really is just that. So think of it as, let's say, a USB-C port or connector into your favorite tools, where you have Claude on this side, you take a USB cable and you plug it into your CRM, and now they're connected, and you can use Claude as a chat interface for your CRM. It really is that easy. I was thinking about doing a bunch of different separate videos about MCPs, and in a bonus section, I will, but it would just overwhelm a lot of you. So really think of it like that. It really is that easy. A USB cable that plugs Claude into your favorite tools. And what we can do now is adding a custom connector, which in our case would be EXA right here, right? So we're going to look at just connecting one custom connector just so you know how it works. And then if the tool that you're looking to connect doesn't have an MCP available, then you skip to the bonus videos where we're going to build one from scratch. And adding a custom connector really is as easy as say, okay, I want to connect EXA, and then what you do is you reach out to EXA chat support, or you look in their help documentation, which in this case, EXA, that's where they had it, the same as Instantly, and you search for MCP. And a lot of tools these days just build their own MCP, which just isn't officially listed yet. And they give you a URL, you paste it in here, and that's everything that you have to do. It really is that easy. At times you have to attach your API key to it as well. And it connects that way. You just go to your settings page, grab your API key, copy and paste it to, and there you go. It is that easy. And that's how you set up connectors. We're going to talk about projects next. I want to do it in a separate video just because it's so vital for this course and for what we're going to be working on. I'm going to stop this video, jump into the next one, and we're going to dive into projects.